Today we're going to show you the start to finish process of building a lean-to structure.
So what I want to do is build a lean-to roof off the side of this drive shed. Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Hidden Spring Farm. Exactly where I want the rafters to sit to come down to this side. But from the edge here all the way up to the roof, I want to put brand new board.
Now I had previously set 3 concrete piers, so we're going to start there.
You okay, Olive? You okay, girlie? Hey, I'm building. I'm just trying to find the square of the structure, so I got it down to almost 176 and a half, and then follow it along, and on this side it's 178. So I need to move this in a little bit like that. 176 and a half. There, 176 and a half. Good. That's good. Now I can bolt down these anchors. I have 3 posts here for the 3 piers, and I got 2 6x6s that I milled myself. This is actually oak, and this one is maple. And this is a pressure treated post that I bought. And I'm going to put the pressure treated one right here on the front, because I'm not sure, but I might be thinking that this might get wet for the time being until I'm finished covering it all in. And I'm just going to reuse them, and that helps me plumb up the post.
Gotta hammer one of these spikes on 2 sides of the post, and that way I'll be able to put a level on it and get it perfectly plumb, and then screw it into these spikes. That way I can move forward with the build, and I know that these 3 posts are perfectly plumb.
Oh boy, that was a hard one to put on. But I got it pretty well balanced. Yeah, pretty good. That's 2 posts down. 1 more to go. Last post. Let's see how she looks. I'd say that's pretty dead on. Just like I knew what I was doing, eh? Oh yeah, exactly like I knew what I was doing. Now that I have these 3 posts done, I need to figure out at what height do I cut the posts. So I just need to kind of dry fit a 16-foot rafter from the barn until here, and then mark it with a pencil. Yeah. I just put this temporary wood here, and I'm using a 16-foot board to try to just figure out the pitch of the roof. The structure's quite massive, so it's up high off the ground. I gotta be a little bit careful, but I need to figure this out before I can move forward. It's about right there. That's the angle I need to cut it at, and that's a decent enough pitch. It's done now.
I want to install a board on the upper edge of the rafter so that the rafter actually has something to sit on top of, especially since I'm working alone.
Okay, I got the first piece of the ledger board on. And I'm just going to be using these 5-inch lag bolts to secure it, and it should go through all the levels of wood onto the wood on the inside as well. So that's going to make it nice and secure. That's exactly why I wanted to put that board on the inside, because, you know, I want to bolt them. You can see the little bolt coming out there. If I didn't put that on, what is that board going to be mounted to? Just these antique boards? Just have to figure out the level of these 3 posts. The easiest way that I've figured out is just to cut one of them where you want it to be cut at the height that you want it, and then just use a straight board and level it on the other side, and then make your cut and then do the next cut the same way. It's quick and easy, and it's very, very accurate. That's about 112 and a half, 113 maybe, right to the center. Yeah, 113. I'm just simply making the beams out of 2x10s. I'm just gluing and bolting 3 of them together, and it's super strong by the time I'm done with it. I'm just going to put these screws in temporarily until I get the brackets on much later. There, it's not too shabby. First one done. I just measure and cut and install the next one. Easy peasy. That's how you know it's perfectly level, because the seam between these two beams is absolutely spot on. If that was up or down, or this was up or down, you would see odd gaps in there. But I did a pretty good job here. Again, I'm just putting in some temporary screws. Okay, now we're cooking. That looks pretty good. I think that's right where it's gonna go. And then on that side, I'll have to figure out the bird's mouth. That's gonna be fun. The easiest way to figure out that angle is just to put a board up there. And you know that the board is straight, right? And then mark it with the pencil and you'll get it perfectly leaned up against the wall once I cut it. For the bird's mouth, you got to make a line right there. That's just a straight line based on the level of the beam. And then I just put my level to get that line. And then this is the part that's going to get cut out. And that'll just sit nicely on top of this beam. That's the only way I know how to do it anyway. Okay, that's pretty much the way it's supposed to sit. Never mind this, I cracked it. I'll try to put some glue in there, but really I'm going to be cutting this on an angle, so don't worry about that. But this is how the bird's mouth is supposed to sit. So I need 15 rafters here, 16-inch on center.
Now that I know my structure is square at the corners, I can go ahead and use the one rafter that I've already shaped and cut as some kind of a template to make all of the rafters that I need for this roof.
I know somebody might ask how come I'm not just nailing it in. And the truth of the matter, and I've spoken about this before, is that it's hard to do when you're alone. There's no one holding the other end. I'm trying to balance and go up the ladder. And for me, I can place the screw and just kind of get it to where I want it to sit and then give it a screw. Now I just put one screw in the top there because I am going to come back later and go psh, psh, and give it 3 or 4 nails, framing nails. Framing nails are a lot stronger than screws in any case. I got a whole bunch of these rafters up already. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 more rafters to do.
Now that I have all the rafters pretty much set, I'm going ahead to get the nail gun out. It's a framing nailer with an air compressor, and I'm going to tack in a whole bunch of nails.
There, got them all nailed on. I got it nailed on there. I got the beams nailed on. And now my shoulder needs a rest because the nailing gun is pretty heavy when you start using it for a half an hour.
Now that the structure is secure, time to remove all of the supports.
Of course, I'm going to save all these little spikes for future projects. Okay, here's the situation. I got all the 10-foot boards up here, and I have to rip down maybe 3 inches to fit in that main crack right there. And that's okay. I want it to start from that side so it looks great. Plus, this building is so old, I have no idea if it's sitting plumb or not. Now, I've got just the 10-foot floating there. That's the 10-foot mark. And I'm just going to follow this same style where there's another board on the upper and it's just overlapping on the outside. And I guess they just do that because it's really hard to get boards like longer than 10 feet. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's just going to be another board up there. It's going to kind of look like that. Shouldn't be too bad. Plus, this is the back too, right? So, I don't know. Looking good. Hey, Olive? Looking good? Good girl. Let's go. Now that I got that wall kind of 75% done, I don't think I'm going to build these walls just yet. I think I want to finish the roof. So I started putting a couple of those on. I'm going to put those purlins every 20 inches or so. And I'll need 9 of them to go all the way up to 16 feet. So that's kind of a lot of work. It's a big job and it's hard to film. So don't be disappointed if I just have a bunch of it done and show you what I've done. See, just to explain further, so what I'm doing is I just put that board there to make it level, and then I'm setting a new board on there, and then I'm cutting it flush with the rafter. So basically it extends the length of the board. It's not really perfect, but it's the best I can do. It's the back of this shed in any case. And I started on that second spot there because that first spot right there, you know, I got a bunch of stuff to cut out. So that's a harder cut. I just want to finish this quick. Okay, I got it done. Whew. It's a lot of ladder work. Let me show you what it looks like on the other side. That was tough. Nice, eh, Olive? So pretty much a straight line all the way across the bottom. And I got that all sealed up as best as I could. And all the water will run off, so to speak, and then just run off of that. And I think we're looking pretty good. Over time, if this dries out, I can always put the battens on there. Oh man, I'm working up here this morning and it is frosty. So I'm just finishing up the last top portion of this roof. I'm about 12 feet high up right now. And I got this second last piece on. Let me just show you what I had to do on that mistake corner. If you look closely up there, I had to cut the roof. It's really a weird cut anyways, but it's okay. I got the first piece on, so that's a success. It looks like because this is a 16 feet and these sheets are 92 inches, I'll have another sheet right here, and then I'll have probably a 3-foot section right at the end. Okay, I got the first row completed. That's 2 panels here. Got to get another panel down there. But basically, I'm not putting any screws here, eh? I do have wood here, these purlins, but I'm not putting any screws here because what I'm going to do is put like an L-shaped flashing here, which will be caulked all along the top and then screwed down to this. I just have to work on more purlins. Okay, now I'm cooking. I got all these things on, these purlins. Now I'm going to start putting the next 6 panels of the roofing on. That's coyotes, a whole pack of them. Okay, I think I need about 2 more panel rows, but I got a lot done. I don't know how many rows this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 rows. That's how it looks from this side. There, that side's pretty much done. I can't put that last piece on until I finish this. But that's all I need. I don't need like a properly framed wall. Plus, if I do it sideways like this, I can turn this into shelving at some point. A few more purlins to put on, and then I can start the last 2 rows of metal. What a day! You're gonna have fun in the snow now. You're checking out my work area, eh? What are you doing? I'm not done. I'm still working. Okay, I have it all done up here. It was pretty tough with all this snow, but I can't get up there right now. You see how the flashing is kind of raised up? I can't get there to screw it down because of this snow. It's too slippery. I can't get up there. It's dangerous. Don't want to be doing anything that's unsafe, but it's probably okay. Maybe a little bit of snow will get blown in, but once we get some dry weather next spring, I have to get up on the roof and screw that down. So I put just a board over there, a 1x4, right along the edge, and that'll seal the gap pretty much. And then I'm gonna put a board now on the fascia here. There, that's how she looks on the side. Not too shabby. Maybe next year if these boards dry up, I can put some battens on, but for now it's fine. Well, snow's coming and it's time to work on the front closure of this structure. Okay, that's not too shabby. The excavator can get in and out. I just gonna have to be careful obviously when I raise and lower that boom arm. But as I'm backing out, I just need to kind of straighten it out a bit. I know, you're waiting for this. Hold on, I gotta throw it. You gotta like stay here because by the time I throw it, you're already halfway there.
Now it's important when you're building a big giant door like this that this cross beam right here is at the bottom of the hinge side. And that's kind of what helps it stay like level. If you were to put this cross beam on this side, then it's going to sag. I got a couple of riser blocks there, and I got a couple on this side, and I put that piece of wood right there to stop the door from falling through. Okay, I'd say that's close to being right. It's a little bit of a gap on the floor, which is really good because I want to make sure I have the right swing for the door. When you look at this gap right here, though, it looks pretty good all the way across. So that tells you that this is level and this is level. Excelente. The hinge mount to the building, it's these things. Look how thick that is. I'm not exactly sure what this is called, but I know that this is called a hinge strap. And basically that hole right there is what sits on top of the peg, and this thing mounts to the door. Okay, that part was tough to get in, but I got it in. That's gonna sit like that. Okay, what I did is I put a galvanized bolt through each one of these. I got these galvanized carriage bolts, and then I got the nuts and the washers. I just gotta finagle this hinge. It's gonna take me some time to get this all the way in. I can do it by hand for a little bit, and then I gotta switch over to the tools. What do you think, people? Success?
Just gotta get this started, and then I gotta work on getting it all the way in. It's easier said than done. I got the hole, but you know, you have to still give it some wood to bite in. You can't make the hole too big. But that's what makes it so tight. Once you get it in a certain length, it really becomes tight. Now I want this hinge, it's got a little bit of play in it. You can see how tight it is there. And as it goes down, it's a little bit loose, which means this is not 100% plumb, but at least this has a little bit of play with that circular part there. So I want to get this kind of right there. Let me just give you a rundown of what I did to finish up here. I got that piece of wood up on top as a trim piece, and that kind of levels it off the best I can because that's where the post is, so I had to kind of do that. I got a trim piece right there, and that kind of closes off the look to make it level so it looks not too bad. And of course I have a couple of handles, and I have this hasp with the padlock. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you coming along.
Hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel. We do all sorts of things here that has to do with small farm life. And it's a lot of fun, and we appreciate you joining us. And if you haven't seen it already, I'll put it up on the screen right now. You can click on it, and it is the start to finish build video of our sawmill, shelter, and woodyard area.
We'll see you on the next episode. You guys take care.